Hello everybody, here is 5 in 5 for cruising. That is 5 tips in 5 minutes, hopefully, for cruising. So today I am going to discuss a very important topic, and that topic is your travel documents. Yes, your travel documents. Your travel documents can make or break your cruising, or in fact your travel experience in general. And so I'll bring 5 tips for you after this. The first thing I am going to ask you to do is check your visa requirements. Look, in the cruise industry, the cruise line says that it is the passenger's responsibility to ensure that they understand what their visa requirements are and obtain all visas for travel. So you can't blame your cruise agent, you can't blame your travel agent, you can't blame the cruise line. Recently, I had about an Indian couple who flew all the way to Alaska, which is in the U.S., to go on a cruise, an Alaskan cruise. One of the stops for that cruise ship was going to be in Canada. They were not allowed to board the ship because, despite the fact that they had a U.S. visa, they did not have a Canadian visa, and they were not allowed to board. And I hear this all the time. There was a lady who flew all the way from Nigeria to Miami, and she was not allowed to board the ship because she did not have a Cuban visa. Now, she even offered, I wouldn't get off the ship. And I said, no, sorry. Really, it can destroy your vacation experience. It can be a waste of thousands of dollars. So please make sure that you meet all the visa requirements. Now, most people think that because it's a closed loop cruise, and by closed loop I mean if the cruise originates from one port and then returns to that port, that is a closed loop cruise. So for instance, if I start the cruise from Miami and I go for 7 days and I go to different islands and I come back to Miami, yes, that is a closed loop cruise. But it doesn't matter. If that ship is going to stop in an island or a country that requires a visa, guess what? If you don't have that visa, you will not be allowed to board the ship. So please take note. If you're going to several countries on a cruise, check all the countries, check with the cruise line, check with the embassies of those countries to find out if a visa is required. And if a visa is required, then it is your responsibility as the traveler, as the passenger, to get that visa. Here's number 2. Check every travel document you have before departure. And I'm sure most of you are going to say, well, duh, we do that. No, that's not what I mean. I'm not talking about checking your travel document when you're leaving your country of origin or your place of origin or leaving home. So for instance, if I'm leaving home today and I'm traveling out of country or traveling to another state, I make sure I have the document I need to travel essentially. If it's an ID card, if it's a passport, whatever, I make sure I have it and I travel. But that's not what I'm talking about. If you're traveling and you stop in a country as a layover or hotel, wherever it is you stop and you do even a minimal unpacking, when you're packing again and you're leaving that location, check your travel documents. Make sure you have everything, because you don't want to leave one state and find yourself in another state and then realize that, oops, I left my travel document in the state I'm coming from. That may just mess up your entire cruising or travel experience. So please always check your travel documents. If it's immunization records that you need, take them along. If it's the documents you have that has a visa in it, take it along. And I say this because there was a time my dad was traveling with my mom. He had his passport, he had her passport. In looking at the passport, at least my mom's passport in his possession, he realized it was an expired passport. So they were going to travel with an expired passport. Now, here's the funny thing. That expired passport had a valid visa in it. But in such a situation, you take the expired passport with a valid visa and your new passport, and it's best you just staple them together. But irrespective, make sure you have all your travel documents when you are leaving a base, or if you're leaving a place where you have just recently unpacked. Make sure that you have all your travel documents. The great thing about cruising is this: you only get to unpack once, so just throwing that out there. Number 3, digitize all your travel documents. Your travel documents, your identification documents, digitize them all and put them in a place where you can easily retrieve them via email, or you can keep them on your phone, whatever you feel is you're comfortable with, but where you can easily retrieve them, keep them there. And look, when I talk about identification documents and travel documents, if you have a passport, make sure it's the passport's biographic page. In actual fact, if you can digitize or scan every page in the passport, great, do that. But at least, at the minimum, your passport biographic page. If you have a visa, that visa page also, scan it and have a copy of it. If you have birth certificate, digitize your birth certificate. If you're a citizen by naturalization, digitize your naturalization certificate. If it is a green card or a resident permit card, digitize all these things. It is very, very important. And you should put it in a place where you can easily retrieve it. Like I said, either you leave it in your phone or you send an email to yourself so that it's now resident in your email system where you can just easily go in and retrieve it. But digitize all your travel and ID documents. It will help you immensely in the event of an emergency or in the event that you lose some important document. Here is number 4. Get a passport. Not a passport card, not a travel card, get a passport. And just make it a rule of thumb that if you're traveling, that you are going to use a passport. And let me just help you out here. If you're going on a Caribbean cruise, a closed loop cruise, and you have a form of ID and your birth certificate, which is something you need anyways, either you need a birth certificate or your travel ID, and I know that well because it happened to us, and you can check this video up here to see what I mean. But if you end up traveling with your ID, say your driver's license and your birth certificate, and you go on a cruise and you find yourself stranded on one of the Caribbean islands, you're going to spend a lot of wasted time trying to get out of that country. Because for you to get on a flight outside that country, you'll need your passport. Without your passport, you can't travel anywhere. Now, the good thing is you can go to the American embassy, and then you have to spend days booking hotels, spending the extra cost for fast tracking your passport. It can be a mess. So it's better to just get a passport from the get-go before you leave the country. Before you leave, if you're from any country, from the US, from the UK, from Nigeria, wherever it is you're from, always make sure that you have a passport. I mean, just get a passport. It's not that expensive. For most passports, it's 5 years, it's 10 years, depending on what country you're from. But, you know, it's worth it. It's so worth it. So please, if you're traveling, if you're going cruising anywhere in the world, make sure you have a passport. So number 5 is this. Check the expiry date on your passport. Let me say this again. Check the expiry date on your passport. Now, I am not talking about, oh, my passport expires next month, so I still have 2 weeks to travel. No, you don't. For most countries, they want a 6-month gap from the day you leave their country and the day your passport expires. So let me give you an example. If I'm flying to a country like Dubai, for instance, right? And I spend my time in Dubai, I plan to spend time in Dubai, and I'm planning to leave Dubai January 1st. My passport cannot expire or should not expire until after June 1st. If it expires any time before June 1st, I will not be allowed into the country. Now, the worst thing is you may have a visa, you may have everything you need to get into the country, but because your passport expires less than 6 months before the day you leave the country, you will not be allowed to travel. And I know this, I've experienced this firsthand. This is not Dubai. This was traveling from London to Switzerland. And my son's passport was going to expire soon. Well, I think it was 6 months. Yeah, it was going to expire within 6 months. And they did not allow him to travel. So we left him in London and we traveled. Really, yes, we left him with my sister-in-law. And we went to Switzerland and came back and got him. But just in case you're wondering, he's fine. He had been to Switzerland before, so he didn't really think he was missing more. But I know he really wanted to be with us. So it's painful. Not only did they split us, but the cost of his airfare was gone. There was nothing we could do. So please, always check the expiry date on your passports. If your passport is about a year to expire, begin thinking about getting a new one. Don't wait till the 6 month period. Otherwise, you'll be way out of luck. That is it for 5 and 5 for cruising. If you have found this helpful, please give me a big thumbs up and please subscribe. So, have a great day until the next time.